Quick warning. Some of the story was told to me by my friend's mom since I was too young and didn't really understand the situation. I was probably about 7 to 10 in this story. It was early summer and my mom basically shoved me outside. I went over to my neighbors and got my best friend AJ. We were honestly weird kids, so we were going around with a bucket collecting BB pellets from the ground. If you don't know what I mean, then I'm sorry. After about an hour or so, a car pulled up into the parking lot we were in. I was a very naive kid and thought everyone was nice, so don't judge me too harshly on this. The guy got out and started walking over to us. I smiled and waved because a lot of people come and go from this lot. He reached us and started with, "Hi guys, I'm James. What are y'all doing?" AJ was very social, and he started talking this guy's ear off. "Oh, I saw some by my car. Let's go get them. Major red flag." Let me repeat myself, I'm a very naive kid, but we followed him. "So, when are y'all gonna be in the middle school?" He gestured to the building this parking lot belonged to. Again, major red flag. Honestly, I don't remember how we responded. By this point, we reached his car. We picked up the pellets and he started going through his car for some reason. Looking back, I seriously questioned what he was doing, but I think AJ's mom had been watching the entire time while he was over there and deciding to call for us. We ran to her when she called us, and he rushed off to leave. Apparently she had called the cops with his info, warning about a sketchy guy. She told me when I asked about this recently that he was looking around constantly and tried multiple times to duck from the cameras and move out of sight when people were walking past. There was a lot of traffic in this area, just people walking back and forth. So a couple of days later, Rachel, AJ's mom, was watching the news. A story about 2 girls who were kidnapped weeks prior from us getting saved had just come on the TV. When a picture of the kidnapper came on, me and AJ were walking into the living room. "Oh hey, AJ, look, James is on TV." Rachel freaked out, told us to go play upstairs, and she called the cops. He was released a couple weeks ago, and that reminded me of the story. I hope I never see him again, because I don't know what I would do. The story takes place in Ireland. I was staying with my dad as I usually do on the weekends. My dad is married to my stepmom. She is a nice person and together they have 2 children. I'm going to use their nicknames in this story. Sorry if that seems a bit silly or out of place, but hey, I'm Irish, we live to be silly. The oldest, which was Hare, at the time of the story he was 5. Catcher was about 3 at the time of the story. If you're wondering about the nicknames and where they came from, the story of how they came about would have involved me telling you my brother's names. The way my family goes for trick-or-treating is that my dad would drive us to the edge of the estate and walk us around. This year he had decided that me and my sister were old enough to just look after them ourselves. He drove us to the edge of the estate. My sister, she doesn't have a nickname, but she decided to take Catcher, so I took Hare. They went left while we went right. Both of my brothers had a little pumpkin bucket. It was orange and had a black mouth and 2 black eyes. The handle was also black. We went to a few different houses. After a while, we ended up going to one house. You can imagine my horror when we get there, and the old lady gives my brother an apple. To my surprise, he actually said thank you when we left. He honestly had more willpower than I thought. A few houses later, we come across this next weird house. So we go up to the door, and my brother was about to knock. But I heard something. "Wait," I said. It sounded like a woman. Her voice was muffled. I couldn't tell what was going on. It sounded like she was laughing. But then I realized that kind of laugh it was. I didn't want to have my brother knock on a door that I knew the person inside was busy or having fun. "Come on," I said. There's no one here." "But you didn't check," he said. I argued my point soon after we were off, but I kept thinking about it and thinking about what I heard. Why was that woman being so loud? After a while, we were done. My brother's bucket was full. Although I had done everything in my power to make sure that this didn't happen too fast. I'll skip all the boring stuff until about 2 days later. I was at my grandparents' house, and I heard my granddad say, "Did you hear about one of your women who were killed up in the estate?" He said this to my granny. I asked him about it, and he said that it was in the local paper. Some woman was stabbed to death on Halloween. The killer would have probably gotten away with it too, for a while longer at least. But he had done a bad job covering up her mouth from all the screaming that she was doing, and that you could hear it outside. The father of a child who had gone to the door called the police. The thing is, he did this about 15 minutes after we were there. This leads me to believe that her death was slow and painful. This makes me feel so much worse, to be honest. I could have done something, but my dirty mind thought that she was just having some fun. And now I have to live with this. The murder made it onto the local news, but not even on mainstream. That's the one part that I really think is fucked up. Because what if he's still out there? What if they didn't catch him? These are all questions that I still have to this day. This isn't my story, but it's a fellow nurse of mine. We worked together and she told me I could tell you. We were talking about a patient's hallucinations when he told us about this time that he was walking past the patient's room. An elderly woman with dementia, and she was chatting up a storm with someone. He asked her who she was talking to, and the woman replied, "The nice man in the black and white striped shirt. He's sitting right there." We didn't really think anything of it. We looked over, there was no one. There was no visitors during those hours. So a while later, he went into another patient's room with dementia, and a different patient asked where the man in the striped shirt had gone. We were very upset about this, and we started thinking and looking at the cameras, but nothing was there. We never saw anything on the feeds or anything like that. Whatever they were talking about, it's kind of weird that two people with dementia both had the same idea. Neither one of them talked to each other. This is what honestly scares me. We haven't had an update about any of this. None of the other nurses have talked about this yet. But when they do, we will tell them our story. The summer after I graduated from high school, I left work early and went up to my parents' cabin in northern Michigan. Spent that night at the beach, watching the sunset. Once the sun went down, it became nearly pitch black. There was no light population whatsoever. I got to my car and started driving down the highway, which was M22. After about 10 seconds of being at speed, there was an older Tahoe, late 90s, that started riding my ass and flashing his high beams. So I got up to about 60 in a 45. They were still on my ass. I pulled off to the side road that my parents' cabin is off of, and they took the same turn. I thought this seemed a little weird, because there's only about 30 to 40 houses on this road completely. So I went all the way down, which is usually a dead end, but leads to a maintenance area for a golf course nearby. The truck was still following me. At this point, I'm freaking out because if I pulled up to my house, they'd know exactly where I lived, and they were still following close by. I took a ton of turns, just random ones, and the truck followed every single one. It was like this for about 15 minutes. I finally had the chance to take a turn with traffic going through an intersection, and it gave me a few seconds of a head start. I pulled down a side street and went up 100 yards, turned off all my lights, and I waited. The truck slowly drove by the perpendicular street and kept going. That was my chance, so I booked it home. Pulled my car around the side, away from the main road, ran inside and pulled the curtain closed. For an 18-year-old, I was scared as hell that night. I waited up a little bit longer, and I just watched out the window, hoping and praying that he wasn't going to come back. People might think that this was possibly just a coincidence, but if you don't know how many times I turned and how many roads I went down, trust me, this was very fucking scary. I was going down an old country highway in northwest Georgia on my motorcycle, which was a 750 Vulcan, when I spotted an ambulance coming the opposite way. I pulled over and a pickup truck pulled over behind me. In my rearview mirror, I saw this passenger grab a baseball bat and started hustling my way. I didn't even look, just dropped into gear and I hauled ass. What followed was the most horrifying experience I've ever had in my life, as this pickup truck proceeds to just chase me all over the fucking place for about 20 minutes. I'm unfamiliar with this area, and my bike was not meant to go fast around turns like this, so I've got no room for error. It's all I can do to stay out in front of these guys. I'm blowing through these four-way intersections, and I'm just hoping that I can get some distance in between and come up with a plan. But they are hell-bent on catching me, and I don't know why. I finally managed to get pointed towards the highway and into the cover of other cars, but the traffic stop on the bridge, that's where I messed up. The truck is 3 car lengths behind me, and I'm thinking if I can get out to this highway, I'm probably able to get away, scot-free, because my Vulcan is pretty fast in a straight line. But in my mirror, I can see that passenger snaking through these cars on the bridge. So I lane split, which is illegal in Georgia, but I didn't care, and make the on-ramp, hammer down, and I'm just fucking gone. I never went back into that town. As far as I know, this was just an unprovoked attack. Maybe like some hillbilly variety or something was trying to get up with me. Because prior to that, I didn't even see any other vehicle other than the ambulance. I don't ride particularly fast, and I don't believe in loud pipes. I got lucky as hell. Seeing him come up behind me like that will always scare the shit out of me. Hey guys, I just wanted to apologize about another short video. I do want to apologize about it. With my current situation and everything going on, it's been pretty hard to do. But hopefully with this next week coming up, it's gonna change a lot of things. Some good, some bad, but nothing that'll affect this. So hopefully by next week, we're gonna have a lot more time to be able to like really get in on some stories and longer videos and everything like that. With how I have the current schedule set up, there's gonna be 2 longer videos the next 2 Sundays. One is gonna be a really, really cool video, and the other one is just gonna be something that you guys might actually like a lot. It's gonna take a while to make, and it's gonna be worth it. So definitely keep on tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on those post notifications. Tell me how you felt about this video. If you want more of these, make sure to let me know. Make sure to check out the links in the description as well. Twitter, Instagram, everything in there. And please, somebody, send me a story to my Gmail. I've been wanting one so bad. But other than that, stay safe, stay scary, and I'll see you in the next one.